Okay, let's talk about this recall 19S54, the hydraulic control unit in like the 06 to 2010. Fusions, Zephyrs, MKZs. We have an issue with customers coming in and their mechanic or their friend or somebody says something to the extent of, oh, no, go to Ford and let them do the 19S54 recall. That's going to fix your brakes. And it's the furthest thing from the truth. The 19S54 recall is to prevent a failure with the hydraulic control unit. It's to go through a valve actuation test to make sure it's not faulty, to flush all of the old fluid and move it up to a more of a high performance .4 fluid. And we use a machine to do that, to run everything out of the system and put all new fluid in. I want you to see these brakes. This has been sitting since last spring. I tried breaking these pins loose and they're so, the pins, I got the top one loose and I had to tighten it back up. It's not moving at all, zero. These front ones, barely making contact, keeps jamming up and skipping. You can see the brake pad, the rattle clip, rattle backing, completely come off of it, rubbing into the base of the rotor, it's squeaking as it's rolling. I had to move it back some just to stop the damn thing from squeaking. They don't drive this at all. So the story is, the lady took this vehicle to a local mechanic and didn't know that his business was actually going out of business. And she had asked him to go through the brakes and make sure everything's right. The guy decided to tell her about the 19S54 recall and say, wait for Ford to do that because that's your problems. Your brakes are not your problem. And I said, ma'am, that's kind of odd. The vehicle's been sitting since last spring. A year without driving, the brakes being in the same spot, everything being rusted up. Me driving that vehicle into the shop just from the back parking lot, I felt super unsafe. The pedal was going all the way to the floor. The pedal was going to the floor. There's no like braking integrity or anything at all. And on top of that, everything's froze up. I don't understand how somebody would think a basic check on the hydraulic control unit would give you your brakes back if your base braking is already not even there. The 19S54 recall is to check the integrity of the valves inside the hydraulic control unit to make sure they're functioning fine, and then remove all that old fluid out of it, the .3 fluid, and move to a .4 high performance synthetic fluid, whatever you will. It doesn't have anything to do with base braking. This vehicle, I have to almost stand on the brakes to get it to stop. And the pedal goes all the way to the floor. You can tell the pins are froze up. The piston's having to travel really, really far just to get any kind of pressure to make the thing stop. And I said, look, it's for the front rotors on that thing is like $90 a piece. The rears are like $55 a piece. And then a front set of pads are $66. And the rear set of pads are $66. You're talking $950 worth of labor and material, because it's an hour and a half front for me, an hour and a half back. I'm going to have to beat the living hell out of those rotors and stuff and do a lot of cleaning to get everything back to safe and up to spec so you feel safe going down the road. This ain't going to be no quick Jiffy Lube slap. There's a lot of stuff that has to be cleaned, and a lot of stuff. I could actually charge more to unfree pins and stuff like that, but I didn't. A lot of people think that 19S54 reprogram, or not reprogram, but HCU check and flush of fluid is going to fix their braking problem. That is not going to fix your braking problem. That 19S54 is specifically for checking the integrity of the hydraulic control unit in an ABS event. So it purposely actuates the valves inside the HCU while you're applying pressure, so it could bleed off. Your foot will go to the floor, and then it will push pressure back up against you to make sure in an ABS event it could do both. It checks the integrity of the valves. And then when you're done, you've got to go through an ABS bleed procedure to get all that old fluid out and flush all new DOT4 fluid in and change the cap. That's what it's about. Don't be confused by these shade tree local mom and pop shop mechanics that are going out of business. Go to somebody you trust. Do your homework. If somebody's automatically not wanting to do it, at least put the vehicle up in the air and check the brakes, check the integrity of everything before blaming somebody else. It's not the person you need to be going to. I didn't even have to do all the stuff that I did. I could have simply put this thing up in the air, quickly did the ABS event procedure through the computer, flushed out all the fluid, slapped the wheels and stuff back on and put it outside. Instead, I took an hour of my time to pull everything off, inspect everything, get the parts wrote up, contact the customer, then have her call back and finish talking to her because she had her kids with her. And I don't get paid for that, but I want to make sure that lady's okay. That's the difference between somebody that gives a shit and there's just some parts changer, some guy trying to scam you and take your money. Thanks, guys. Be blessed.